So this is a trading topic that I don't think is appropriate to talk about on YouTube, but I'm gonna do it in a low-key manner so that you can understand what I'm trying to tell you and you can make your own decisions in your future trading. So what I've been noticing, studying more and more trading psychology, patterns in your brain, and what makes us traders act in the way we do, is it's almost never about achieving something financial in the markets. You think that you're re-entering positions, forcing trades, doing all the bad stuff, because you want to make money, but that's simply not true. Something happens in your brain, and we all know that you can stay disciplined maybe for a week, 2 weeks, but eventually you have these days where something just doesn't go your way, like your brain isn't your friend that day, and it becomes really tempting and painful, and somehow you can't stick to your rules or focus. And I want to discuss different solutions to this problem, because it's more and more trending that people try to basically rewire their brain in a way that, and you see this when you go on a high level in business or sports or whatever, that you notice that the human mind, the human body has its limitations, and for the people who really want to perform on an elite level, they know this, and they know that no matter how much willpower you have certain limitations, and the guys that really want to win, they find ways to basically hack their system or do something that basically takes away some of those limitations, and they can perform on a level that they previously wouldn't be able to do. Like athletes who basically do stuff behind the scenes to perform better in their sport, and basically people in high levels in business who do stuff behind the scenes to make their brain, to make their mind work better, longer, more intense, more focused. And in trading, that's a career, that's a path where your mind's limitations really holds you back as well. Just imagine that you were actually able, without any discipline, just to follow your plan and not do stupid trades. Then you would be in an entirely different position, and everything in your mind works against you in trading. So some traders out there do stuff that they won't tell you about, but it rewires their brain, their mindset. So while you're out here feeling like you're itching to take a trade, or basically you know what's right, your intuition tells you don't take this trade, but somehow it's too much, like you end up taking it anyways. And why do some traders on a high level seem to basically, they don't seem to have this issue? And it's not because they're better than you or more disciplined. Actually, some of them are less disciplined than you, but still they don't. And why? It's simply because some of them do stuff behind the scenes that they won't tell you about, which makes it easier for them to follow their plan. And I'm not going to go into detail on what that is, but we have different, you can call them tools that you can use the same way athletes use tools to perform better in sports, that maybe, I would say, they don't tell the public about those tools. You have the same in business. And I want to talk about how that actually works, and people who use these tools actually don't have the struggles with trading, revenge trading, and they can actually follow their plan, and trading becomes so much smoother, so much easier. And would I recommend using these tools? I wouldn't recommend anything, and I'm not using these tools myself, but I'm just telling you that this shows what's possible. But what they don't tell you about is that these tools, everything that goes up must come down. So these tools don't last forever, and they're just a temporary solution to a long-term problem. And not only that, but they will have their consequences, and when they come down, then it becomes even worse. So people who are using these tools, they eventually have to quit using them because there are too many side effects, and they always have to use a better tool or a stronger tool, and eventually they have to quit. And when they quit using this tool, then following their plan, then doing the discipline stuff, then it becomes way harder than it was before. So what does this tell you? This tells you that it's actually not the money that you're chasing, it's just something in your brain. It's just a pattern that you associate with something that makes you take these trades, do this stuff, because in a really short period of time, it doesn't give you what you want either way. You always end up blowing your account or being defeated, but somehow it goes a week, 2 weeks, and you still end up doing the same thing. So it's not the money you're chasing, it's just something in your brain that's working against you. And you have to be aware of this, because if you use this tool, which I'm not recommending, but if you would use it, then you still want to earn your money, right? You still want to make money, but you don't take these trades. So why? So it's not about the money, it's just about a pattern in your brain. It's just about almost like an addiction, and then you don't feel, because you know that instead of taking stupid trades, right? If you want to make money, like let's say logically, then instead of taking stupid trades, you could just risk 2% on your A+ setup, right? And then you could make more. But why don't people do this? Because it's not about making more, it's about basically an addiction, and they can't seem to control themselves. So this shows that you have to understand why you're doing what you're doing, and you have to find a better solution. These tools are just showing you that it's an addiction to taking trades, but when you understand what the real issue is, you can actually come up with a good solution, and you can understand that it's not about discipline, it's just about how your mind works. And when you finally can understand that, then you can watch, you can be an observer from the outside, you can look at yourself from the outside and see, okay, I'm not doing this, I'm not taking this trade because it's logical, it's just my mind telling me to do something that doesn't make sense. And when you really understand that, then you can know that there's no point in taking this trade. And that's actually the real solution. When you study, you can search for yourself, why would these tools make me less likely to trade? You can ask ChatGPT, if I would use these tools, what happens in my brain that makes me not take that stupid trade? And what can I learn from this? Not to use these tools, but what does this teach me about myself and my brain? And remember, guys, there are no quick fixes, there are no shortcuts, there are no tools you can take that will give you a long-term solution to trading or any other issues. You always have to find the root cause and find a long-term solution.